Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. Thank you so very, very much for being here. My name is Cindy. First of all, I would like to say a great big welcome to my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining the Soulprint community. For my established subscribers, of course, and viewers, you absolutely know that I adore you. The comments, the thumbs up, the shares, all of it has really made a difference in my channel. And I'm very grateful and appreciative of your input and your impact. So thank you very much, all. If you hear some bumping around in the back, Nova the cat is chasing a fly. Now, the last time I looked at him, he tried to catch the fly on the top half of a door that's glass. So, God knows what you're going to hear. In any case, I want to take a look and see how the impact of all the trials is actually going to impact the people of the states. What effect is it going to have or not going to have? Where does this take the country? So that is my question for Spirit, and I would like to receive some sort of intuitive answers. For those of you who maybe haven't been here for a long time, when I receive information, I receive it by pictures, by feelings, and by actual words or phrases. So, there's sort of a lot that gets processed kind of in a nanosecond between when I receive it and when it comes out of my mouth. So, just so you're aware, that's kind of how this information gets to you. All right, so, Spirit, how is the United States going to fare with all of these trials going on as a result of the Trump administration or the Trump family's kind of bad business dealings? So the first thing that needs to be done is you sort of need to take stock of where the country is right now. And where the country is right now is extremely divided. There are people on the right who want Donald Trump hung up by his toenails. Sorry, people on the left who want him hung up by his toenails and, die. Okay, they just want him removed. There are people on the right who want or who believe, he's their Messiah and, is sort of scheduled to ascend into heaven any day now. Both sides are going to be disappointed. What you're going to see is a centering, okay? So Democrats are pretty clear about how they feel. Republicans, not so much. A lot of Republicans, they live in a bubble. They're getting their news from one or two sort of limited sources. But as these court cases start to unfold, more and more people are going to start to pay attention. And the people who haven't been paying attention, unlike you guys and me, are frankly going to be horrified by what they see. People witnessed the J6 insurrection on television. And so they saw it, right? They saw it with their own eyes. They saw what it was. But for a significant number of people, it was sort of like, okay, something really terrible is going on in our country. Okay, reinforcements have been sent in. I don't know if it was the National Guard or whoever it was, but they were sent in, and there were pictures of them sort of hanging out in the tundra or whatever that center area is called. And just sort of, everything was calm and quiet. And so people just sort of assumed that um, was just taken care of. Somehow, legally, all the people who did what they shouldn't have been doing just got charged and, got put in jail or got punished. And it was simply taken care of. So for a lot of them, they had missed some of the sort of intricacies of what Trump was doing and how things were being manipulated. And he wasn't alone. So as the hearings, as the different law cases sort of come to fruition, they're going to be paying more and more attention. I am being told that he got the flag. I am being told that it's going to be cameras. Now, is there going to be cameras in the January 6th insurrection trial? I'm getting yes. It's going to take a while to get there, but that's okay. The cases are going to start tomorrow. But it looks like there's just going to be sort of a bit of a groundswell of the fact that really the people need to know this. This isn't some guy, this isn't some football player, this isn't some whatever over there. This is an ex-president, and this is important. So what you're going to find is more and more people start to pay attention, and the ones who kind of haven't been are going to go, oh my God, what the hell has been going on while I was busy sort of living my life? That's going to have a significant impact. The fact that the Supreme Court has also been very, very busy rolling back things that should not have been rolled back in terms of people's rights. Whether you were talking about voting rights or abortion rights, women's health rights. What that has done is that it's made a lot of people very angry. And unlike Republicans, when, Democrats and most independents are angry, they display their anger at the voting booth. Okay? So you are going to see a real groundswell of people kind of tuning in and going, no, this is not acceptable to us. Do not make the mistake of thinking that the Democrats have this sort of wrapped up, because energy is energy and free will is free will. So it's incumbent upon everybody to become aware, engaged, active, and vote. In some ways, the country is almost going to feel a little bit like shell-shocked. Not only the people who haven't been paying any attention at all, but the people who have been paying attention are going to discover that there is a whole lot more that is uncovered and will be uncovered as those trials draw near. I am being told that the trial of the DC J6 they're showing me sort of January. So the end of the year, the beginning of next. The judge in that case is not going to tolerate this sort of delay and distract and delay some more that was going on. I can also tell you that when the cases are decided, of course, the first thing you're going to hear is we're going to appeal, we're going to appeal. I don't see a whole lot of courts taking it up. So it sort of will stop there, right? If you can't find a court to appeal to because they think the ruling was just or valid, you also need to factor in that newest generation. That's not accurate. You need to factor in the generation that is now coming of age, the Gen Zs. They are also going to be instrumental in bringing in new healing, thinking outside of the box energies. Now, in order for those energies to sort of start rooting and take place, a lot of the older, very, very set in their ways politicians are going to need to leave. And that's going to happen in a variety of ways. And they will be replaced with a younger and newer crop of politicians. Now, you're still going to have extreme politicians on the right, but even they ultimately are going to have to temper things back a bit because people have been so fed up with the chaos, they don't want any more. Like, they don't want the Jim Jordans yelling and screaming and holding stupid hearings, and they don't want, um, you know, the nonsense that has just been going on. The Hunter Biden thing is a really good example of that. It's like, what the hell does this have to do with anything in terms of my life and what my country can do for me to make my life work better? It has nothing, and people are going to get really, really tired of it. Even Republicans are like, come on, move on already. There's nothing there. You keep coming up with nothing. You keep saying you haven't found nothing. So why is this going on? It's going to be kind of like a real frustration. So now, understand the planet itself is evolving. And this might be a little out there for people to take in. The Earth is not the first planet that kind of humanoid people have inhabited. This is not the first time they have stripped the planet bare of its resources. Some of those people left that planet, like literally physically traveled away from it. Other people simply died in the implosions. So those planets that you see within your solar system that are kind of dormant, some of them have actually had human life on them. But the resources of the planet were not respected. So you can see this as a pattern that is repeating. Now, some of the younger generations and a lot of the older ones are getting very, very concerned about climate change. They're getting very, very concerned about lack of rights. They're getting very, very concerned about what they see as the future. And there are going to be changes, but it is going to take some time. Just like the shift from 3D to 4-5D is going to take time. This is not going to happen in, a blink of an eye. Some of the younger ones are going to be able to witness a great deal of it. Some of us older people are going to be at kind of the beginning of it because that was our function. That was why we came here. We came here to bring in the generations of children and help the grandchildren who are now going to nurse the planet. Okay? Now, so what I'm seeing is there's just going to be like a whole lot of kind of turmoil because you've got these hearings going on. And this is the thing, understand, people. For as bad as Trump is and was, He served a fundamental purpose of ripping open what was hidden. And what had become hidden over decades was getting really kind of dirty and smelly and corrupt. And what they're saying is it takes someone corrupt to recognize corruption. And so that is his purpose. His other purpose, however, is to have and experience the results of his behavior. And so he will. You are going to there's going to be a house cleaning that kind of goes on. And that is it's not in preparation for what is coming. It is the first steps of what is coming. That generation that is bringing in new energy, new ideas, simply new ways of looking at things. The things that my generation, our generation, or generations, the things that were important to us are simply not going to be important to them. They have a different agenda. And their agenda is to bring healing and balance to the planet in various countries. Now, focusing in on the trial or trials, it's going to frankly shock a lot of people who've been busy living their life and doing their thing, and they weren't really paying attention. It's going to create an energy of people who haven't been paying attention who are going to start focusing. And yeah, you're going to have people, you're always going to have the extremes on, frankly, either end. But it will find its balance. Hold on a sec. Sorry about that. I'm back. The balance is not going to look like either end of the spectrum. It's going to find center. If you think about a pendulum and the way a pendulum works, if you just sort of allow that pendulum to continue to sort of absorb and transfer the energy, you can get pendulums that are swinging like this, right? Really extreme. But ultimately and eventually, the pendulum settles down and it shifts back into center. And that is the space and place that needs to be achieved in this period of time. The trials themselves are going to be, in many ways, overwhelming for people. I mean, not so much the business ones, right? But and even the hush money one. But the ones pertaining to the Jack Smith investigations and the Fonnie Wills investigations. Those ones are going to have a really, really significant impact on people because they're finally going to realize how close to the edge you were. How many guardrails now need to be reinforced? How many traditions now need to be encased in law. And that is why it is incredibly important that everybody focus, everybody become engaged, and everybody vote and down that ticket. Because that is the action that will create the reaction. And the reaction is a more democratic country, a more democratic government. And from that government, those younger generations who are just coming up now, eventually they will sort of become the majority. Biden has things that he needs and wants to do. And as near as I can see, he will be the next president. He will win his second term, and he is going to also have majorities in both the House and the Senate, and he will be able to sort of push through some of the stuff that he still wants to get done. But you can't just depend on a current president. You can't even just depend on current legislatures. You need to be involved. And this is the thing we want you to remember. There are people who get involved and they volunteer their time. They do door knocking. They, write letters to Congress. But don't for a second think that those of you who simply pray for a better country, who simply pray for sanity to be returned, that is engaged. You are energetically doing light work. So for those of you who say, well, I'm too old now, I can't protest, I can't this, I can't that, that's okay. You are still contributing in your way, and you are still paying attention, and that's really what matters most. So you can see that energetically there's going to be a shift as people actually start to absorb and reflect what the heck was going on during that Trump administration, and again, prior to it, because a lot of this stuff was going on, they were just quiet about it. Trump was like a megaphone, right? He was telling everybody exactly what he was going to do, and people couldn't believe him because they were just like, that's just not possible. That's not how we behave here. Well, lo and behold, he did behave that way. And it is important that he receive the reactions to his action. They are showing me, though, that it is going to be hard on his mental and physical being. He has never been in a place where he has not been in command. And, yes, he was in command of his company, but man, oh man, when he stepped into that Oval Office, he really believed he was in command of the world, okay? And he believed that his voice was solitary and law. And for that, there are consequences. We also just quickly want to reassure people that your current president is up for the task. He is incredibly well protected. Not only are there people on the planet in his circles that are protective of him and doing what they can and moving things forward, but energetically, angelically, he is really, really protected. It is very important that he move into this second term with majorities. I got to tell you, they're not actually showing me if he makes it to the end of the term. I have always said I thought he would, but it kind of gets a little hazy there. But again, you have a vice president in place who is more than able to step into his shoes. And remember, when you send good thoughts and powerful thoughts and healing thoughts and prayers, you are doing good work. So for those of us who have been paying attention, there's stuff that's going to come out that we had no clue about. For a lot of the country, there's going to be stuff coming out that they just really did not know what was going on. And a lot of them are going to be horrified. Please understand that change is an evolution. It's not radical. It takes place step by step by step. And that is how you end up with, that's cute, the very best people doing their very best work. Sometimes they have a sense of humor. But that's where we're going. That's what it looks like. Are there going to be little tiny kind of skirmishes and upheavals here and there? Yeah, probably. Are they going to amount to anything? No. And the problem is as these cases come up, you are going to see more and more people going, just hold on a minute. He did this in DC. He did this in Georgia. We know about the other states that he was trying to flip. What does that tell us? Are some of the MAGA people actually going to open their eyes? Yes. Are a lot of them? Not so much. But think about it. Even if 10% of the MAGAs go, whoa, no, they're going to do one of two things. If it's early enough to push behind another nominee, they will. But I maintain it feels very much like either Trump is going to be the nominee or nobody knows who the hell the nominee is going to be. I know one of my pendulum questions said we didn't know. The person who ended up being the nominee, we don't know who they are yet. But even the Republicans who can only see their way clear to vote Republican are going to be voting for whoever the nominee is. And again, I can't see who it is, and I can't tell who it is. It feels like right now, honestly, it feels like it's 50% somebody else and 50% Trump. And it's just sort of, the energy around that keeps moving and shifting in part because a lot of the momentum behind this the nomination is going to be impacted and reflected by the trials. And there will be enough of them to get a lot of the information out. Okay? The important ones they're going to go through. And the other thing that Republicans and MAGAs in particular are going to do is they're going to kind of have a bit of a hissy fit, and they're just not going to vote. And that's okay too. It really is. Alrighty. That's what I know today. Thank you very much, Spirit. Thank you, all of you, for coming in and watching this video. And I am very hopeful that I will see you over the course of the week as it unfolds. And just a final thing, I believe that this week, now I'm recording this early, so if it happens on Monday, but I believe that this is the week that there's going to be some significant movement out of Georgia. It might go into the very early following week, but I'm not getting clear on that. They're sort of showing me the calendar, and the week that we are now in is sort of lit up. Okay, thank you. You take good care. Until I see you next time, be well. Bye-bye.